Hi, what's up? I am going live. Happy May Day, May Day, May Day. Ha ha! Welcome to the echo chamber, everybody. That is so funny. Hi. So, this is great. That's so funny. Here at Zephyr's house still, and I was just gonna talk about how Zephyr gave this to me yesterday. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Hi, Amy. What's up? Silly sea turtle shop, Amy. I do go by Amy. No. This is Moldavite, and I had a beautiful Moldavite necklace that I adored for about 2 weeks before I lost it, and it was crushed in traffic on Main Street in Lexington. And then I found it while crossing the street very hurriedly with Izzy in my arms and my dog, and pulled it up just as the car was like hitting the brakes. It was a funny moment, really funny, because I just really treasured it. And so now I have another one. The whole Moldavite thing, it's kind of funny because and this, the ametrine that Nimue got me in Sedona, is that not? Or Curiosity Killed Nothing, Amy. This is Amy, is what. This is yes, ametrine. And Nimue got it for me in Sedona, and it's one of my favorite things ever. So, yeah, I am so grateful for Zephyr in so many ways. It's like every time I go to, like, I'm like getting into this like download or message or whatever, insight, Zephyr like adds the icing on top of the cake. I feel like, don't tell her I said this, but like her big teaching that I just like, like the Matrix is the feminine version, of what this is, and that's like what we're stepping into. The Matrix is like the creatrix. What we're exiting is the Patrix. I mean, like, what? Of course. That whole thing where it's like imposed, right? And we're just like, oh, the Matrix, F you. That's the Patrix. The Matrix is where we're empowered. I love that. Speaking of the Matrix, I have some beautiful Celtic wheel themed cards, the Wildwood Tarot, that I wanted to pull a message from. If anybody wants a card, please let me know. I would love to do that. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Love that, Patrix. Fuck the Patrix. Welcome to the Matrix. This is the Wildwood Tarot. Ba-da-da-da. All the cards are on like the Celtic wheel calendar thing, and it's just I really like it. Not all the cards, all like the major arcana and the face cards. One for Monique. Absolutely. Let's see what Monique is to know. Well, look, we got boredom in reverse and happiness. I'm one of those reversal readers, like if it comes, I just feel like everything has a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There are no details that are insignificant. So it's just like I don't think that the reversals always mean the same thing. Sometimes, like if it's a face card, the reversal could be that's, the person being read. It could also be, if multiple cards in a spread are all reversed, like that could be their own thing. So, I'll pull you another one just to get a better what have you. And then in reverse also, the Seven of Stones, Healing, which I just pulled for Zephyr, and it was in reverse. Which was like, I think that with this happiness, like maybe you might feel bored, but of course, and well, maybe you feel, because there's two of those things up there. You feel like your options you're not passionate exactly about, but it's that falling down that sort of, okay, Matrix, right? So we that Seven of Stones I pulled for Zephyr earlier. It was like, she's providing me healing in so many ways. I mean, like, there's like this long-haired dude just like laying there. Like, that's me. And I think you'd be in this similar thing, because it just said the reversals could mean the person being red, and like those two sort of things spilling feels like this like an option, like a choice almost to be made, but you like don't even want to make it because it's whatever. And maybe it's like you're healing others. You're facilitating that healing. That's what I see healing as. It's not necessarily like directing and pulling and whatever. It's just like being the conduit, being present. And that's, that'll take you down into this happiness card actually came out for Zephyr as well. So that's kind of weird. So it must be, a bigger thing. And like, we got into a whole talk. Just like, that's not even what, I don't even remember what it was. When you have those sort of levels where you just sort of go in and then you forget what, you go in and you're like, oh wow, yeah, of course, there's always the things. But it, isn't. You come out and you forgot that it ever happened, and you're like right back in the game. So maybe that's what those two pouring cups could be, is like this, like the two different. And yeah, I wouldn't even say that is boredom, but even just like sort of apathy, or like we feel, a lot of us are on similar wavelengths. Absolutely. Like the wildest things that I, start analyzing about myself, everyone keeps like talking about. And even whenever I pulled the cards, I was looking at the cards in this book for Beltane. It was, they talked about how we're moving from the air into the fire, and for me it's been like this sacral chakra BS, as well as this sort of death, letting go of the whatevers, and it's the first thing of the year, and yeah, so many similarities. I'm just like, this is the third live I've tried to do today, and I like cannot get with it. I cannot. Is this take 3 of this? And it's like, this is the first one people have shown up to, and I usually don't mind if people show up or not, because it's just like, it's almost honestly better that way, because I can just like say my piece and whatever. But today, like, I couldn't even like post that. And now that there's people here, I can't delete it, so thank God, because I just need to like stop trying, like be, and do the things, but I had sort of set a high bar for myself today. The old world, like exhaustion from the hamster wheel, absolutely. And this card for me before is really just meant, like, it's just, yeah, it's got a lot. She doesn't just look bored, she looks hurt. It's like a black eye or something. It's just this sort of, twisty thing. So you have the 4 and the 7 and the 10, so that's 21. And 21 was the last live I started, and I was like, 2 and 1, well, I guess it's this whatever, and I didn't feel good about that either. 21. But 2 I would see as like, relationships being altered by our intention. But it even could be like when there's a conscious exchange or a conscious interaction. That's it. Moving from exchange into interaction. So it's not like, oh, well, I listen to you while you speak enough so that I can say what I want to say whenever you're done speaking. It's like we are interacting in this action. Like of our interaction is this action. And the 10 of Vessels was actually in reverse for Zephyr, and felt like this, like the water flowing back up, up the waterfall, whatever. It's like it's always going towards the ocean, but we came from the ocean. We are the ocean. We're just the droplets from the ocean. Everything that we, needs to be done has already been done. Doesn't mean we don't do it, but then it's sort of reckoned the newness of every moment. This is in the Matrix. Every moment is like grafted in front of it, like it's just rendered, right? Big truth. You don't remember to fill your cup. Absolutely. And for me, it's like it will never, like, filling the cup or just like being the freaking water. It's like, because we are the vessel, and so it's flowing through us all the time, but we're really not even, like, there are no vessels. It's all just like this, grand illusion, but there's no way to sort of truly interact with the illusion unless we embody this vessel and spiritualize the vessel, right? Embody that spirit that we are, that the liquid. I literally have a pic of me sitting in front of a waterfall, just like that one in Oregon. Oh, weird. Very, very weird. Yes, we don't. And that could be what this, boredom thing is referring to, because she's got plenty of water. She's sitting in front of a fountain. That passion, excitement, whatever she wants to feel, it's not, she's got her back turned to it. And maybe it's sort of reckoning, a healing, and I think that even goes back to that sort of seeing our interactions not as like, I'm pouring into your cup, but we're pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring because we just like pour. And when we pour together, it's like we, our cups are just, they refill each other. But even we need more cups to fill them because it's just like going everywhere. An exponential sort of expansion of the amount of water. Like, there's way too much water. A flood. 11. So I rolled an 11 for you, which goes back to almost those like 2 cups, that sort of idea. And then the 11's before the 21. In this, there is this inner one, and there's like the outer you that you project to the world, right? And we get to control who the outer one is, but we don't necessarily get to control who the inner one is. I mean, we influence it, but we influence them both. Maybe we really don't control either one of them, but there is like the integrity within which we choose each of those things. Like, how do we feel? How do we project? Are they a similar thing? Do we get to control how we feel? And have you ever tried? Because I get so tapped in sometimes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can feel whatever right now. I can just like, woo! And that Virgo full moon really taught me that. I felt it on a deep level. And I was just like, wow, felt zapping that energy all over the place. Pouring into your cup, pours into mine too, because we are collective. It's all our cup. Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. Do you want a card, Amy? I can pull one for you. Monique. I will pull a couple more on this, just to see if I can get tapped into myself, because so we have the 10 of Bows, responsibility. And the 9 of Stones, tradition. Which, we have to remember that the ways that we do things and the structures of whatever, of the Patrix, a lot of them were well-intentioned. This man with his 10 of Bows going towards the, which is the fire, the wands. At the top of this castle, there's, like a village up there. The job he's doing, and he's so close to being there, is to help other people. He may even feel very fulfilled in this, state of responsibility, because he knows, he's a part of that bigger thing, and like that's what he has to do every day, just that one thing. But we do need to know that, like, other people can help us. We don't have to go it alone. We're not supposed to. That's sort of what this whole Patrix to Matrix thing is about, right? Is realizing I'm not this independent one who has to prove my value and my whatever, my right to exist by stringing this whole life along all on my own, and not necessarily being codependent, but interdependent, right? And the tradition, like, he's got this, these antlers I just love. I wrote a beautiful poem about antlers, and just, like, I have this whole thing about this, one day, like, growing antlers, like a story of a person, going about, and it's actually kind of a scary story, but it fulfills me, right? And I feel like hair, antlers, they're like antennas. There are nerves, whiskers even. So it's reaching out for connection and supporting that infrastructure. And then we have empowerment with a big old erection painted in the grass. We love erections. I mean, I know I do. And what I think is funny, I know we're mostly ladies here, but sometimes when I do magic, I know that energy's flowing because it's just like, boom, like, oh my God. And I think, so we're doing some sacral chakra stuff right now. This sort of alignment of energy that moves through us, through that connection, build that infrastructure through which that energy can flow, I think we're changing the way the infrastructure really is and how we perceive it. Because, I think it won't be long, with this shift in consciousness that we're having, that it won't be long before science can recognize, or at least the collective, that the truth of our density, it's not so much like physical hard stuff, but it is a hologram or whatever, however we may perceive it. That's what it is. And imagine we're seen as flat earthers one day. They're like, oh yeah, there's flat earthers, but then there's also like hologram earthers, prism earthers. We love erections. LOL bumper sticker material. Real trickle down economy. Let's see here. Bye, Monique. Sorry, I kept talking to you. Choosing happiness and choosing healing. Absolutely. 11 is your favorite number. It's a really good freaking number. Sally, Sea Turtle Shop. I do really want to. Amy. I love that guy with the horns. I call him Buck. We love erections. For sure. Oh my God, thank you. I should get some bumper stickers made. If anyone knows of any American sticker production companies, I bet I could get Zephyr to go in on building a business with that. Oh, well, bye, Monique. Thank you for coming in. I promise there'll be a better time whenever we're having a session. I feel like Nim would know. Oh my God. I love Nim. Oh, on the stickers. Yeah, Nimue did do some print-on-demand stuff. I will find out. I've been looking into like drop shipping and things like that because your girl's broke. But everything's like, made in China, and then it's like, well, you're supporting the slave labor and the whatever, and that's like why I never buy clothes. I didn't buy clothes for several years because of all that. It's like I just don't feel good about it. But there's nowhere to take your old clothes except for like Goodwill, so I mostly only shop at Goodwill. Zephyr just took me shopping at Goodwill, changed my life because I'm a Libra, and it's very important that I feel like I can look like myself on the outside. Me too, they are amazing. That's why I know of you. Oh my gosh. Me or Zippo. Ten of Arrows. Instruction. Thrift to fuck capitalism. Well, see, and I'm even like, I have trouble finding places to just donate my clothes, because I would much prefer that than like them go to Goodwill, because that's not even that great of a company. But then it's just like, where in our lives can we find a completely ethical lifestyle? And it's like, nowhere. And I feel like that's like the crux of creating intentional communities, but like, how will we make our clothes? And, you know, lots of things. I'm sure it's not that difficult when you have a community, but I know it's done. So, instruction. Then we have insecurity. Oh, really? Oh my god, thank you. Wow, I can't believe you came to me from Nimue. I'm a clothing maker. No way. Well, one of my good friends in college, she was very into, like, she had been a seamstress. She really wanted to, and does, bear cloth clothing, I guess. I follow her on this account. She had like a Hattersley loom like shipped over and everything. Like, she's all about like sustainable clothing, and she's the one that got me like realizing, woke me up to the clothing industry stuff. And I don't know how we can do anything. Like, so everything happens through some aspect of this oppression of others. And it's like, how do we change that reflection externally? And we're all like, often, many of us are involved with like jobs that take advantage of people, but it's like, we can't just like, you know, to what extent can we? And I think that, you know, sort of goes back to taking actions that help us feel empowered on a personal level, and that's what changes the reflection around us. And I think I should do that more, really, is not see this as something that I'm powerless to, but a reflection that I'm getting back based on my state of being. And, you know, that goes back to that sort of transition we're all making into this new way of seeing reality. And I really do, I mean, I've like seen it in the ethers, just like how this like thing works. It spins around us, and all the things had to happen in order for these things to even happen. So like, how do we change that reflection, what we see? It's like that little magic dial inside called emotions. Well, not even the emotions, like the direction of our imagination, or I don't even know what it is. And I guess there's no way, I don't know. We'll know. Love. Like love, it's like I'm starting to understand love as like not even a feeling. Like, there are feelings that are symptomatic of attuning to the oneness of love, but I'm starting to define love as that beingness, and all things being made up of that beingness. Like, the light is this thing inside of us that sort of shines, like whatever the love sort of is, or the light, right? But the love is like the properties through which that light is projected around us into the spectrum of color. Just accepting it as something that allows future events. Right, exactly. Because, yeah, that's, you know what, I was like so dead asleep, and I think that was the night I got on Nimwe's Instagram live. I had like come in from driving, I'd finally like tapped in to like my guides again after like not being in the void for like 3 days, and it was just like, they were just like, why would you judge, you know, what others are experiencing? Like, it all has to be, like, who are you to say that what they do or how they grieve or how they, you know, are reacting is bad? Like, you're here too, you know? So you can only be you. And that's when I, like, grieving every moment is truly honoring it by witnessing it through the eyes of who we have fully become in this and every moment, and allowing ourselves to be that new, as this is all new, and greet this for the first time, every time, without forgetting. We don't want to forget what was or what we've witnessed. We carry that, and we've honored it by letting it go. Oh, I guess I'll read this. Like, shit hit the fan for our family last summer, and because it happened, it allowed so much more to come to us in winter and early spring. Had I not judged it as shit hitting the fan, I would have been a lot more happy. Yes, I definitely see that, that pain of losing a situation, a person. Like, that's our love, our power returning to us, and if the sooner we can get that over with and let, those people, those things, those places, those experiences die, the sooner they become a part of that fullness of whatever, and we have access to that. And that's where we and them and everything is more fulfilled. And being here means not worrying about stuff because you have everything you need right now. Right? Amen to that, especially here, right now. Whew. I've had another thought about that. The grieving and the what have you, but I'm sure it'll come back around. So we have instruction in reverse, the 7 of arrows, insecurity, and the king of bows, the Oddr, which looks pretty cool. It's these snakes, and they're like, I think it is supposed to look like they're fighting, but they may be mating. No, I don't think they're mating. They could just be fighting and they got in a knot. It's hard with this deck and the face cards because they're animals and that's it. And you have to learn, where they are. And I've used this deck for a long time. It's just like purely for I like to keep a deck that I don't know anything about. I just use the visuals. I feel like that's so whatever, but I will look at that because who knows? It could be this time of the year. The King of Bows. Position on the wheel, moving away from Beltane. So this will be going forward. The serpentine energies rising from the ground into the air and intertwining as male Oddr struggle for dominance. And that's funny because the Beltane card, one of them is the Lovers. The Forest Lovers, and it has that sort of spiralic, like ribbon around a pole. Me and Zephyr were talking about that. Sometimes this is mistaken for a mating ritual. They also represent magical power, balance, and healing arts, maturity, strength of resolve, energy, and wisdom. The individuality of the seeker is enhanced and rewarded at every turn. Your leadership is unchallenged, your path direct, your goals realized. And then, juxtaposed with the insecurity, and my insecurities are definitely coming from these lower chakra situations of just like being and letting go of the physical storyline that I keep telling myself. Because that's when I get caught up. It's like, oh, this is all those things. And it's like, oh no, those memories are there to be greeted, bear witness to, and then let to die. They pass and are honored in that passing. Like Helix DNA. Exactly. Oh my god. I saw that before. And so like that light comes through us, is born in us, that I had this vision once where I saw, a lot of things. And it's like in the air, this, how we're spinning, the world, the hologram is like spinning around us. And I was like, can you change the direction? And it was like, yes. So it spins the other direction. And then it spin like around and this way. It was all about the perspective that we choose. And then it was like blinking. It almost looked like an eyeball. It was like, oh. So I saw like the lights coming in, but the lights also going outward, like looking at itself. We're the perceivers. We're the eyes, right? Joining with other eyes to be like an eye system or something. But then I saw the light like go down a strand of DNA and like literally bursted it apart. And I feel like the DNA is like the filter through which that light sort of is splayed out. So like how we're evolving the genetics dictate where we are, what we experience, even the people, the other aspects of this thing that we come into contact with that are carrying, those things. That's how this hologram, whatever. And because if you think of the duality of the love and the light, say the darkness and the light, or what have you, like the love is the form, the physicality of the genetic material that holds. So like the sun shines down and germinates the earth, like the egg, and through that, the DNA holds the information. And that's why when we're given information, we can only remember the things that we care about. And it's like, why do we care about certain things? And like, why are certain people, they sort of shine, to us? And I do believe that's where our evolutionary paths can change, and even like, our genetics are altered by the radiance of light that we encounter. And that is like definitely a thing where geneticists, can even like use certain radiations to change the way that genes express in like mice and stuff. And then I guess a part of that whole thing was like with the eye and the light pouring through it, it was like the light that flows through us, it's not like our ideas and inspirations, they're not just some chemical composition that, or like magical thing that just spurs from nowhere on accident. It's the sum of all of us, all the light, and whomever is just like in that place at that, with the right sort of frame of whatever to birth that creation from the whole. All of our creations are then from the whole, and that's the people that, whatever, the vessels who allow it to flow through them, I guess. So even our art, our dreams, they are the culmination of everything that everyone has ever done to this point. And then it was like a couple days later, I saw like a cross, but it looked like telephone wires. And the telephone wires started to alter like sine waves. And I saw the little person that was in like the spinning thing before. It's called a zoetrope, by the way. I had to look that up. Well, I call this the zoetrope because like I'd seen a thing that spins like a Rolodex, right? Each moment spinning like a tick, 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 tick. First time smoking weed, I saw reality like that. Just like chick, chick, chick. And I forgot like who I was, everything. And then I like saw my friends and it was like, oh shit, I'm like a person in a life. And I just did something really bad. And I started, you don't start to panic when you have amnesia until you start to remember, right? So I knew that I'd seen that optical illusion before. It's like a carousel that you spin and it's got mirrors and it shows like a GIF almost. I think it has mirrors, but you like look into it and it makes like a little video. So I went to look it up, and it started out as a phanatokistoscope, or some call it a phantoscope, which is a 2-dimensional version. And so it's like a spinner. You spin it and it makes like a little thing. And 2 men had actually invented that in the same year, which was, I don't know if they cheated or anything, but it sort of went to that sort of, when everyone's created this thing, it like comes through, it's ready. But another man had actually written about that illusion earlier that year when he saw like gears spinning. 2 gears were going really fast, but the way he saw it, it looked like the rest of them were the ones spinning, or vice versa. I didn't really know, I didn't get that, but I knew what he was talking about because earlier that day, I was taking off to go to the grocery store, and as me and the car in front of me took off at the same speed at the same time, it looked for a glorious moment as if the world was just shooting backwards around us and we were still. And I was like, oh my God, that's what reality is. Like we're the still point, through which everything is born, and we're all lined up on that sort of, that God particle, right? That electron that bounces through everything, and that polarity of it, and constant motion, there's that stillness that we all are. And so that's how I do like energy work, is by going inwards and accessing that place where we're all already connected. And it's just, yes, very nice. So yes, the telephone wires, this connection started like jumping like sine waves, and that little dude in the middle of the zoetrope thing, which means life wheel in Greek, was like jumping like double dutch, but everywhere that the sine waves crossed, there became like a lateral connection, and so then it was spinning around him, and it looked like the DNA, but then there were almost like more wires, like sort of joining as it's just sort of all spun. And it was really like this became like this sort of vortex inside of him that was like all the wires were going around him in this toroidal field. And I was just like, which became that zoetrope spinning eyeball thing. All right, so let me look at here. Sorry, I don't read the comments whenever I'm on the tangent, because it's like, oh, I have something to say finally. Me too, they are amazing, that's why I know all of you. Know of you, thrift to fuck capitalism. I do sustainable clothing choices for the kids and fast fashion. I love that. Love thingamajigs. I think it comes from not judging the moment as good or bad, just accepting it. That allows future events. Indeed. Absolutely. All we have to do is witness it, right? Even yourself too, like shit hit the fan. Yes. I wonder if it's like the master spiral. Are we moving up, back towards the collective, or alone to individualism and fracture? I would, up towards the collective or alone to individualism and failure. I would say that, like, the failure is kind of inevitable in that it's like it's already and always just like the collectivism. It's, like, we know we're going to make it and everything is going to be that singularity because we're here, and if we hadn't gotten to that point, we could have never created ourselves. I'm like weird with the paradoxes. Or maybe both, but simultaneously. CRISPR cell does that. Gene editing. Oh, I did not know that. Prism eyes. Eyes a camera. Mm-hmm. Exactly. You had a third-person perspective experience. It was nuts. Or seeing the split between who you feel like and that who you feel like is linked to a body but distinctly not you. Oh, the water flowing. If you're water and you see the shore move, if you're the shore, the water moves. Whoa. That's the observer of the observer. Oh, very extra. Whoa. So, yeah. The thing doesn't want to hold the phone up anymore. But, the water and the thing reminds me of, like, the other day when I was in San Diego staying under a tree, and I just, like, heard, felt pretty clearly, the trees move, but we call it wind. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But it started to make sense in just that, like, that's sort of how we perceive the trees, but, like, you know, the tree's experience could be like, oh, I want to dance for a little bit, and then there's, like, this sort of wind experience, like, we don't know the extent to which we experience anything. I feel like the desires and our wants and our imagination is kind of like the wind, that light flowing through us. We have the experience of choosing and making and moving, but it's really like this thing that's sort of just playing out around us and, you know, almost inevitable. Because, like, everything that could happen has happened. If we exist in time, we must also exist outside of it. And in that tensegrity, or, you know, in that sort of knowing, we know that everything that we are experiencing, we must be experiencing for a reason. And I find that is, like, the key to me when I do want to consciously create or manifest, and I feel that, like, twinge of, like, nervousness or desire. It's like, if I'm feeling that, I know it's a good thing because it's my power. That's who I am. And if I weren't feeling it, that would be a bad sign, because that would mean I'm blocking something. But just in that acknowledgement that whether this happens or that happens, it was meant to happen, I release, most of the blocks to whatever it is. And then even if I guess I don't get whatever it was, I'm understanding. All right. So I think I'm going to hop off here. The instruction in reverse, I feel like, Amy, it is you who must be teaching. I think that the instruction, like, you've obviously got a definite, good, you've got a wonderful, whatever, and maybe you do teach. If you do, I want to see your links. But we need as many of the awake to go out and, help the awakening. I mean, need and help, but if that's something that fulfills you, that's what I'm sort of trying to do. Is like, I can't help that I'm spiritually minded, and talking about this stuff is what I want to do, so I should talk about it more, and I should learn how to express myself more. That's why I'm doing this type of thing. And I was just like, for a while, who am I to like talk about these things? But I really, we gotta value our perspectives. And the Seven of Arrows, the insecurity, and the King of Bows being that those snakes fighting, but it's like clear, strong direction, knowing exactly what we want. And I think that you do. Don't let insecurity hold you back. I'm off here, only just realized other people think like me about a month ago. Wow. Well, same. I mean, like, Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app, that was really opening for me, because I'd had like online friends who, I can talk to about this stuff. Only recently have we gotten like closer, like I just met Nimue, I just met Zephyr in person. But on Clubhouse, it's like there are people who are really like pursuing answers to these questions in even bigger ways, in much larger, structures of the collective sort of institutions, physics, mathematics, like, and one thing I learned from there really is everyone is so capable of understanding things that we just let, society, whatever, tell us is like a difficult thing. It's like, you don't have to go to college to understand physics and have a perspective that could change the world. You really don't. You just have to feel confident enough when you encounter the information to, be patient with yourself to just like figure out the little things. And then, it's all so important that we do that we get our perspective. Because even in the sharing, there's this weird telepathic thing, when all these people come together in these settings, and it's like not pictures like Instagram, it's just voice. Like something in it, we think we're communicating in words and symbols, whatever, but it's really like the sound of our song that non-woo people have talked about. There's this like telepathic sort of conglomeration of energies where we just know we're brought to a better perspective. And you can even tell in other places how that moves us forward. And it's incredible, and it's weird, and it's a blast. So I highly suggest getting on Clubhouse if you have an iPhone. I feel plugged into where I'm supposed to be now. Yes. Me too. Oh, did Izzy say hi? She's a nipping. Alright, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm probably over my little time limit that I keep for myself. Time, space. Gotta make, all the things. So, y'all have a lovely night. Thanks for chilling with me and let me talk about all those things that I love talking about. And sharing those stories that I've told a million times, but love every time I tell them. And great to meet you, Amy. I hope that we interact again soon. Yes, get that Clubhouse invite and go on Clubhouse. Just follow people that you see talking about, like philosophy, physics, just all sorts of stuff, and you'll find your way into all those groups, and they will, it'll be a good time.